Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Ashley Benet. I wanted to come on here and kind of tell a story time. I'm cleaning up, so forgive any messes that you see in the background. But I wanted to talk about my story time. I did travel nursing to Las Vegas. I am a registered nurse by trade, and it was my first time ever doing any kind of travel nursing. I went with a travel nurse agency, and I went to Vegas on a 4-month contract. Um, and I had never done travel nursing, so I didn't kind of know what to expect. Um, so I had an apartment where I lived, and I was just kind of bored and kind of fed up with being in the jobs that I had at that time. I was just kind of tired. I think I was probably a nurse for like 5 years at that point, maybe 6. And I was fed up with just the hospitals. And, at that time where I lived, there was like, it seemed to be like the market was so oversaturated with nurses. So I was kind of tired of getting like horrible hospital jobs. I wanted more flexibility. I wanted better pay. So I don't even know. I think I got an email from an agency, and they reached out to me about travel nursing. The packet that they showed me was a little bit more than I was making as a staff nurse, but it wasn't like outrageous like the travel nurse contracts now. But I just wanted to get away. So the hospital that they ended up soliciting me for was in Las Vegas. And at the time of the contract, I had an apartment where I lived, and I still had, I think, like 7 months left in my lease. So I ended up keeping my apartment just in case, it didn't work out with travel nursing, and I could always come back. So I didn't know anything, but the first like bad thing that happened was driving across country from the Midwest to Las Vegas. I had like a '02 Chevy Malibu, and it had like 140,000 miles on it. I got a tune up, and I got everything done on my car before I left to go. And when I got around Colorado, like when I got into Denver, my car started making weird noises as I was going towards Colorado Springs. And it was like a lot of mountains, and it was getting late at night. And I was by myself. I had just packed up my trunk in the back seat of my car with like a TV, with scrubs, with clothes, with all my nurse essentials. And I get around Colorado Springs or going towards that direction, and my car starts like making weird noises, and it freaked me out. So I don't know a lot about cars, and it was my first car. So I called my father, and he was like, I told you not to take that car. I told you not to take that car. You just wouldn't listen. So he scolded me. I ended up having to stop. I called my agency, and I told them everything what happened. They were real patient because it delayed me from getting to my destination when I was supposed to be there. So I ended up getting a hotel in like Aurora, Colorado, and the people were so friendly and they were so nice. My car was broken down on the side of the road. It was smoking, and a lady stopped, and I was really, really nervous because where I'm from, people are not real friendly. They're not real helpful. If they see a single one with a broke down car, you better call AAA, or you better call 911 because ain't nobody stopping to help you. So it was late at night. I was by myself. I was freaked out. I was in a different region of the country than what I'm used to. And the kindness of strangers, I thank God. A lady stopped to help me. She pointed me in the direction of this service station or whatever. And so that I could call a tow truck. So I ended up having my car towed to like Meineke or somewhere in Denver. And I ended up getting this hotel in Aurora, Colorado. And I was like worried because I'm like, oh my God, I'm supposed to be starting my nurse assignment really soon in Vegas. And all this stuff is happening. I'm by myself. I've never like tackled a lot of problems alone without my mom and dad. And I was just like really, really scared. So the next day, Meineke, wherever I went, they fixed my car. It was like $800 to get my car fixed. So I'm like, okay, fine, whatever it costs, just fix it. Let's get this car situated. So I ended up leaving Meineke. It was in Denver, I'm sorry. And I was driving towards, and I remember this clear as day, seeing the signs for Colorado Springs. So I'm driving my car and it starts like making a weird noise and shaking real bad, like shake, 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 shaking. So I'm like, oh my God, what is going on with this car? So I turned back around and took it right back to Midas or wherever I was at. And I remember them being like, oh my God, we have a problem. And I'm just like, come on, man, what is it now? They're like, we didn't notice before, but you have a hole in the side of your motor. And you can either, we could fix it, but, there's no guarantee that, your car is going to make it. It might die. If you drive from here to Vegas, your car might die on the way there. You might get 500 miles out of it. You might get 5,000. It just depends on the car. So I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I have to be in Vegas. My nurse assignment is starting. I'm by myself. I've never driven cross country alone. And I was freaked out. So, of course, I told him, just do what you have to do and fix the car. So I ended up staying another day in Colorado until they fixed the car. When they fixed the car, they told me that there was no guarantee and it might still break down. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to drive this car like this, but I know when I get to Vegas, I'm going to need a car. So I'm like, you know what? Go ahead, fix it. And then instead of driving it, I ended up, because it was getting really close to my start time. So I ended up flying from Denver to Las Vegas the rest of the way, and I shipped my car. Excuse me. So I ended up getting to Vegas. Like I said, I kept my apartment back home. And the hospital was like in a really, really nice area. It was in an area called Summerlin. And if you guys are familiar with Summerlin, it's a really, really nice area. So I ended up stupidly seeking a room for rent on Craigslist. Now, I don't know why I did it. I knew that I couldn't get a long-term rental because I still had this apartment back home. And that was like my only thing for housing. I didn't have anybody. I do have a first cousin living there, but he and his girlfriend, their living situation was already set and they didn't have any more room for me. So I didn't want to invade and I didn't want to, impose on them. So I took the housing. It was like $400 a month, the room in this 3-bedroom apartment. So I get there to the housing. The area is beautiful. The subdivision is beautiful. It's gated. It's got tennis court. It's got a pool. It's got a jacuzzi. It's got a workout room. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. So I'm just like, oh, thank you, God, because I was nervous. So I ended up moving in. I had the person whose apartment it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment. And the person whose apartment it was, he was renting a room to me and he was renting a room to himself. And the way the apartment was set up was like a kitchen with a dining area, living room. And on the other one end of the apartment was the master bathroom, master bedroom, which was his and his girlfriend's. And then on our side of the apartment, behind a wall, there was a laundry closet, a bathroom, a bedroom, and another bedroom on the opposite side. So it was perfect. The room locked. The apartment was really nice. They were nice when I first got there. My roommate, a kind of creepy red flag. So, I'm not the only woman, but I'm a solo person by myself living with people that I didn't know. Like I said, the person whose apartment it was really friendly, really nice. And he had a girlfriend. She was really nice, very friendly. My other roommate, he was a little bit weird, but he also worked at the hospital. He worked in like mental health. I think he was like a mental health tech, but I'm not for sure. But he was saying that he wasn't making enough money there and he was interested in changing careers. So fast forward a little bit, everything was cool. My roommate was a little bit creepy, but he was fine. I remember though going to the bathroom to take a bath, or shower, I would always lock the door. I remember one time when I came out the shower, he had propositioned me in a really weird way and it just freaked me out. He was like, if you ever need help with anything, anything, I'm right here. And I'm just like, I'm good. I don't need any help with anything. I'm good. We're good. Let's just keep this copacetic, not make it weird. Let's just, chill on that. Because I'm not looking for that. I was like, newly divorced, I ain't looking for nothing. I'm just out here to do my job. I just came here to dance. So he's like, okay, if you need anything, let me know. So I'm like, okay. So I go to my room. It was kind of weirded me out, creeped me out. So I locked the door. I got dressed and everything, and then I left and did whatever I need to do. Long story short, my roommate ended up quitting his job at the hospital as a mental health tech, and he got a job as like a porn broker, if that's a thing, if that's a word. He started doing contracts for girls who were doing pornography, and apparently the porn industry had dried up in California because of the taxes. I guess it was too high, the fees and stuff. So a lot of people in porn were moving to Las Vegas at that time. So he started doing like contracts, which is fine. Like, I can't knock anybody's hustle. So he would meet girls and promise them like a place to stay while they auditioned for whatever movies they were going to be starring in, and I guess he got a cut of their contract. So it was fine, a little bit okay. It's just a little unconventional, but okay. He would tell me, hey, you know, we're having a shoot in the living room, and I'm just like, okay, like when you get off work, I just don't want you to be alarmed, but we're doing a shoot in the living room. So I'm like, okay. So what that meant was that these girls were being like, they had like a professional photographer there, and they were taking like nude photos to submit them to like the porn companies so that they would be chosen for their movies. So it was just a constant rotation of women in our house all the time, and it was real weird. Like, the girls, some of them were really nice, but it's just, I'm from the Midwest, and it's just totally different. And I'm not knocking nobody that's in that industry at all, but it was like a weird mix of people because we were always having a lot of traffic in and out of our apartment because these women were coming. And then the person that I was renting the apartment from, he was newly divorced, or he was separated. He had a girlfriend. She was like 18 and he was like 29. He had 4 children, or three sons with his ex-wife, and they would come over every other weekend. And it was just real weird because the boys would be sleeping in the living room. I would come home from work because I worked 7 a to 7:30 p. And I would come home and the boys would be there sleeping in the living room. And that was another weird, like, red flag, and it just didn't go off to me. But I'm like, they never advertised when they put this room for rent that there will be like children, you know, coming every other weekend. It was fine. You know, the kids were really nice. They were well-mannered, and I liked actually being around kids. It gave me like such a sense of like normalcy. So I really enjoyed having them there, and they were well-mannered. So that was fine. They would come every other weekend, and I would have like little snacks and stuff in the refrigerator. And this is like the second thing that happened. So the kids would like eat all of the groceries that I had bought for the refrigerator, like everything, and nobody ever replaced it. So I was like, at first I'm just like, you know, it's cool. It was like yogurt, fruit snacks, stuff like that. It was cool. But then like over the 4 months I was there, they just did it too regular. So I stopped buying groceries because they didn't replace it. Whenever the kids ate the groceries, they didn't replace it. So I'm not a drinker. I don't know if I shared this with you guys before. I don't drink, but I think back then I would buy like bottles of wine or something like that. And you know, I would come back and I would notice like the bottle, might have been open, but it was like a lot in the bottom. Then when I came home, I just kept noticing it would go down further and further and further, and then it would be empty. So I had like some bottles of wine in the house, and I noticed like they kept being drank, or I would come home and they would be missing altogether. So my roommate, I caught him one day, the owner of the apartment, he was chugging one of the bottles of wine like late at night, and I'm just like, what? And then he told me, oh, the next day, I'll buy you another one, I'll replace it. And I'm just like, it's not the principle of buying somebody else another bottle of wine. The principle is not to drink it in the first place, because that's like not yours and don't belong to you. And you could have just asked me for it. I'm like a super generous person, and if you wanted that wine, you could have just asked me for it and I would have gave it to you. It just felt like being a little bit like taken advantage of, because I couldn't really say a whole lot because I needed this place. And I didn't want to pay two rents. I was already paying rent at home, and then I would be paying rent there, and it would be like no purpose of even traveling if I'm paying thousand plus more dollars to stay here. And the packet that I got from my recruiter, I had like a housing stipend, and I had my pay, but because, and they also offer corporate housing, but if you got corporate housing, it would completely take away from your housing stipend, and it would decrease the pay. And it was like, what is it even worth it? It wouldn't be for me. So, my roommate was like an alcoholic, the one whose apartment it was, and he like worked for himself. He's like an electrician. But he was cool. You know, it was cool having the kids, and you know, every other weekend that was fine. His girlfriend, when I first got there, and this was like, I was snatched. Like, my body was snatched, honey. And people out in Vegas, if you're from the West Coast or you're from Vegas, you know people don't wear a whole lot of clothes in Vegas. They just don't. So I would be out jogging with my sports bra on. I would be exercising because I was really fit at that time. So I was into working out. I would be, you know, I would look like I lived in Vegas too. So I came in the house, and you know, I was curvy, I was voluptuous then, but I was thick. I was thick in all the right places. So I came in, I remember, and my roommate was the owner of the apartment. He was Latino. I think he was Mexican. His girlfriend was Filipino. My other roommate, who did the porn contracts, he was black, and I was black. So when I came in from like jogging or working out one day, I had on just like a sports bra, and I had on like some like what is it, like capris, and I was working out. And he was eyeing me down, and then I looked at his girlfriend, and I wanted to make her so comfortable because I don't want her to feel like I was threatening or anything like that, because I wasn't interested in anybody in that house, and I was actually shocked that they were interested in me. But it was like a lot of tension with the girlfriend because she felt like the guy was interested in me, and I'm like, girl, I'm not interested in no man right now. I'm not interested. I'm freshly divorced. I'm out here. I'm trying to stack my money, trying to get this bread, trying to clear my head. Like, I am not trying to be with your boyfriend. I'm not that type of woman. I'm good on him. Trust me, not the kind of man you got. Anyway, I'm good on him. And trust me, it wouldn't be a man that I got to share no apartment with 3 other people with or pay no rent for a bedroom. So I'm like, I'm good on him. So I ended up just like befriending her, and she was in school. Her parents weren't real happy about her dating an older man who had all that baggage. And I ended up taking her out to taking her out for a manicure and pedicure. We got our nails and our feet done, and we just talked and we bonded, and I just reassured her, hey honey, I'm not looking for no type of drama. I'm not interested in your man, and I'm good. So you don't have to worry about me at all. So we kind of bonded, and we got real cool, and there was no more tension, from her. But the person whose apartment it was, he started, saying some like inappropriate comments, because I started seeing him messing around with some of the porn girls, and she was real like suspicious, but he would do it in a real sneaky way. And she was still kind of like not trusting of me with him, like I was on some other stuff and I wasn't. That was another flag. So another flag was that he brought his uncle. They were from LA. His uncle ended up coming to help him do like the electrician contract work he did. And mind you, the kids came every other weekend. The girls from the porn, they were coming in and out of the apartment. And the uncle, so he was living on the couch. So we have like this full house Brady Bunch just going on here. So everything was fine. Even with that, I'm just like, this is getting a little bit uncomfortable. It's getting a little crowded in here, but I can manage this to the end of my contract. So the uncle and we bonded, and we were actually really good friends. He was older, and he had a lot of sense, and he was just a really, really cool person. So we ended up bonding. We ended up talking, not like in a romantic way at all, but we ended up just talking. He didn't speak a lot of English, and I speak a little Spanish, but we were able to communicate. And he would encourage me to talk to him in Spanish, and I would encourage him to talk to me in English. So we bonded, you know. When my car got there, it ended up messing up, and I had to buy a new car, and I had never had a car note before. So my cousin who lives in Vegas took me to buy a new car, and it was good. I actually ended up selling my car that had the hole in the motor to a friend of the uncle who came from LA for his teenage daughter. And because I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this car when I go back home, because he found a buyer for me, I gave him like a bunch of the money from selling the car. But we got real cool, and everybody in the house thought we were messing around, but we really weren't. And we developed the bond, and we're still like Facebook friends. But that's the whole living situation. It was crazy. But the hospital situation was way worse. In Vegas, they have these like mega big, huge hospitals, and I didn't expect it. I am from a big city. So, and I worked in tons of hospitals. So I thought I'd be equipped. You know, I'm fine. I worked in a lot of different specialties. So med surge for me would be, you know, pretty manageable, pretty easy. But Vegas has these huge hospitals, like mega hospitals with like 3, 4, and 5 med surge units, all different, many ICUs. Like, it's crazy. So, and also I didn't know that there's a lot of retirees that lived in Vegas and a lot of snowbirds. So I got there and got on med surge, and they would always dump the worst patients on me. And you know, if you're a nurse, if you've ever worked agency, that's pretty normal. You're going to get the worst patient load. You're going to get the crap assignments, the people that nurses don't want, you're going to get them. And they're going to have like sort of an attitude towards you because they feel like y'all are doing the same job, but they're getting paid less than you. So it's like a little bit of animosity there anyway. So you get that, and it was kind of hard to make friends unless it was other travelers. But, you know, the nursing staff wasn't friendly. You got the worst patient assignments. You were the first person that was pulled to a different unit. And you did so many admissions and discharges because in Vegas, when an elderly person or one of the snowbirds or a retiree comes in, you know, with chest pain, they would automatically admit them and do the workup like that. Keep them for a few hours, stabilize them, and then discharge them. So on your shift, you could literally have 4 discharges, 2 admissions on a 12-hour shift. It was just a revolving door. And to me, it got kind of like, it was exhausting doing that all the time, all the paperwork, all the orders and everything for admissions, getting it started, getting the meds going. You know, you're doing all this stuff, and then the patient would stay there literally a few hours. There wouldn't really be an admission. That's something that could have been done down in the emergency room. And it just got really annoying, like really, really annoying to have the heaviest patient assignments, to always have the people who were on pain shots or around the clock pain meds. It was just a lot. And it started to just be like, is it really worth it? I'm going through a lot with my, you know, housing, and then I'm going through this. Plus, I still have an apartment at home that's vacant. I'm paying utilities. I'm paying rent. I have a new car now. I have a car payment. So when it came time to renew my my contract, I didn't want to do it because it just, to me, wasn't worth it. It wasn't beneficial for me. I could have renewed and let my apartment go, but the whole overall experience was just really strange in Vegas. I did go out and party with my cousin. You know, I partied with my cousin, and that helped me a lot, relieve a lot of stress. But I'm going to say this about Vegas. Partying with the people I live with, and partying with my cousin, and just partying in general, they do a lot of drugs in Vegas. A lot of drugs. Like, not legal weed. They do a lot. They do a lot of powder, and it was just a lot. It was like a culture shock, you know? So it was like a culture shock with all the drug use and everything. And I'm just like, I'd be at a party, and people would just be passing around plates of cocaine. And like, you want some? You want some? And I'm just like, nah, I'm good on that. And I'm not judgmental. Whoever wants to party, but you know, nursing is a no-no with drugs because you get random drug tests, and it's just not, they don't coincide. But I saw a lot. There were fellow people indulging in drugs, fellow professionals. So it was just too much. But that was my horror story with travel nursing to Vegas. I haven't traveled since then. I'm sure if my housing was different, I probably would have stayed out in Vegas because I absolutely loved it. But yeah, that was just a lot of craziness. So if anybody's interested in travel nursing, leave me a comment down below. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Until our next video, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.